Hey everybody, welcome to the I Am Podcast YouTube channel.
Make sure to tap the bell, subscribe, and comment down below. Hello everybody!
Welcome back to another episode of the I Am Podcast. Today we get to talk to someone with a really cool story, and I don't even really know much about you, Sarah, but like with what you do and doing surrogacy, I'm just so interested.
Yeah.
So could you please introduce us to yourself, Sarah?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Sarah. I am a mom of three. I am currently living in Saskatchewan. And the reason I'm living in Saskatchewan is for work. So I'm an RCMP officer here. And so that's what brought us here. I'm a first-time surrogate. I actually just had the baby 3 weeks ago today.
So cool.
And so, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Are you married, Sarah?
I am, yeah.
Is your partner RCMP as well?
He is, yeah.
Oh, nice. That's
That's
cool.
so. I have so many questions. I love this so much. So did you guys like transfer together and like kind of work at different offices? Like how does that work? Being that you're both RCs.
Yeah, so I actually joined the RCMP before he did. He was a teacher before he joined.
Oh, no way.
So my first post was actually to Newfoundland. So I graduated from Depot here in Regina. I got posted to Newfoundland, and after about a year of me being in the RCMP, he joined.
You guys were together prior?
We were together prior, yeah,
Okay, very
yeah.
cool.
And so after I was posted to Newfoundland, about a year after I was there, he applied and he joined the RCMP as well. And we were just lucky that the detachment that I was currently at was big enough. So he was able to be posted to the same detachment as me in Newfoundland as well. So from Newfoundland, we ended up going up to Labrador for a couple years, which was an incredible experience. And then from Labrador, we ended up going to Manitoba. And then from Manitoba, we ended up back here in Saskatchewan.
Wow.
So,
Is that where you're from, Sarah?
Yeah, like where's your home roots?
home is actually Manitoba. So
cool.
Prairie Girl.
Yeah.
And so we're not far from home right now. We're pretty close to family. We're about 4 hours away from family in Manitoba. And my mom lives in Moose Jaw. So she's about 45 minutes away from me right
that's
now.
nice.
So
That's so cool. What a like
Yeah. How did you and your husband meet?
yeah.
we actually coach volleyball together.
Oh, no
that's
shit. I love that.
awesome.
That's so
That's
cute.
so cute. I'm just thinking about like a schedule for an RCMP and like that you're both together and 3 kids. Like how do you do that? That must like, oh man. Because you guys ever end up on the same shift?
It's been
like,
a challenge.
Crazy.
So when we had our first daughter, we actually worked opposite. So we were working 12-hour shifts at the time. So I would work my 4 shifts of 12 hours, and then I would come home and he would go to work. So we would basically tag off. I would work 4, he would work 4, so we didn't need childcare. And then when we had our second, I was off for a little bit afterwards, and we ended up having our third shortly after our second. And so when I ended up going back to work after our third, we also worked opposites. And we had daycare and we had some help from family once we moved back home. But it's always been a juggle. But thankfully, like all of our supervisors have been really great with scheduling. And so they kind of allowed us to, switch shifts if we need to switch shifts. And they've given us a pretty good schedule in order to work for our childcare needs.
It's so nice that they're so accommodating, but there can't be very many couples who actually do that. Or do you see it a lot?
Yeah, there are actually quite a few couples, especially in like the bigger detachments that you'll see. But most of your supervisors, they have families too, right? They understand how it is. So a lot of them are quite accommodating as much as they can be. Obviously, there are times when I can't get home on time or he can't get home on time, and that's just the way it is.
Right.
But, we figure it out. So
How long have you been an RCMP?
just about 10 years now.
Wow, that's amazing.
And how long after you graduated did your husband go? Like how many years?
Just over a year.
Oh, okay.
So there's like a year and a half difference in our service. So
Well, that's so cool.
Sarah, how did you find surrogacy?
Oh, I know. I get asked that question all the time when I bring up surrogacy, and I have always kind of thought about it. It's always been in the back of my mind, especially after we had our third. I didn't feel totally done with being pregnant and, that stage of my life. But my husband and I, we talked about, the potential of having a fourth, and we just weren't really sure. Like we weren't able to just, pull the trigger and be like, yep, we're going to go for a fourth. So surrogacy has always been in the back of my mind. I had started doing a little bit of research on the different surrogacy, companies out there and how to go about it. And one night, actually, I was laying in bed and I was just scrolling through Facebook, and an ad for Anu popped up. And I have never heard of Anu before. And so I looked into Anu, and I really liked what I saw with Anu compared to other, websites and things that I've seen. It just seemed, a little bit smaller, a little bit more personal. So then I did some digging in there. I answered the questions on there. And after a couple days, I ended up emailing Lorraine and said, I'm really interested in this. If you could, get back to me with some more information. And within a couple days, I had a phone call with Lorraine, and that was July 26th of last year.
Oh, so
you've
we
already
are
given
coming
birth.
up on a year.
That's crazy. I love when that happens.
Yeah,
that's always our goal. But,
Yeah.
sometimes when transfers don't work, and sometimes we're waiting for test results, all these things can come into play. And so that's really cool that, it really did,
picture perfect journey.
Yeah, I tell people, we kind of had, myself and the intended parents, we kind of had a unicorn journey.
Yeah.
It was less than a year from the time that I, talked to Lorraine until, I'm 3 weeks postpartum now with their first baby. So I say, we kind of had a unicorn. Everything just worked out, when it should have.
Right.
And we all got really lucky.
That's so amazing.
How did you choose your intended parents?
So I initially had 5 profiles sent to me, and my husband was working at the time, and I had a day off, and I had said to him before, I'm going to look at the profiles, and then we're going to pick our top 3, because I wanted, to choose our intended parents together.
Right.
And so I looked at 5, and I just responded and I said, can I just see 5 more? I didn't want to overwhelm myself with profiles, but I thought, 10 would be a good number. And so I ended up getting sent 5 more profiles. And as soon as I read the profile of the intended parents that I chose, I just knew that these were people that I wanted to help. So I ended up sending the 10 profiles to my husband. And he basically responded, I don't really have top 3, but I have 1 or 2 that I really like, specifically 1. And I said, okay, at the same time, we're going to text each other the names of the intended parents. And sure enough, we both text each other the same names. And so it was, without a doubt that these were the people that we were going to help. So it was actually fairly easy to pick them. I don't know what it was. I just something about them made me want to, be a part of this with them.
Where are they from, Sarah?
They're from Toronto.
Oh, very cool. So you guys got to be in person quite a bit then?
Yeah, so their fertility clinic is in Toronto, so I ended up going there for the medical screening and then also for the transfer. So I met them twice then, and then once I was pregnant, they ended up coming here for the 20-week ultrasound. So they'd never been to the prairies before, so they came here for a couple days for that. And yeah, they said that they loved it, so that was pretty neat. And then obviously they came for the birth of baby 2.
Do you think you'd do a sibling journey?
Honestly, I think so. Now I haven't discussed it with them, so they're probably going to listen to this. They were just and their whole families too. They were just so incredible, and their whole family is just incredible in so many ways. I could just brag about them for hours. That I think I would be silly not to help them again if that's what they wanted, right? My husband and I discussed, if I would do a surrogacy again, and I said I probably would down the road, but I don't think I could ever do it for anybody else.
Right.
I think I would be silly to do it for somebody else, if that makes sense. Just because this went so well, and they're literally family now.
Yeah. That's so cool. Okay, so this is just me because Jared and I are incredibly nosy. How did surrogacy blend with work? Because that's not something we see super often.
No, and so when I was pregnant with my own kids, I would typically go off the road, like out of uniform and into light duties when my pants and my belts and everything didn't fit anymore.
Right.
But where this was a surrogacy journey, I ended up going off fairly early. I think I was probably like 5 or 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
But one of the reasons why I had to go off, I was put on bed rest
Oh,
by the
okay.
doctor. And so I had an SCH, and
Mm.
because of that, I was put on quite strict bed rest. So then after that, when I came back to work, once I got the clear from the doctor, I was light duties, obviously. So I was just working in the office from that time. But yeah, typically I go off work when nothing fits anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Do you enjoy being in the office?
Not as much as I enjoy being on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would much prefer being on the road.
At least that's like an option and a way to keep you safe. So how long did you end up working with your own pregnancies?
So my first pregnancy, I went off the road at about 16 weeks, and I worked in the office till I think around 36 weeks, around
Okay.
there. Second one was very similar, except I was off at about 12 weeks because my pants didn't fit sooner. And then around the same time, around like 36 weeks, I went off completely. So, and then the third one, I think I was still off work, like I had taken a leave without pay,
Oh, okay.
just for raising the kids.
Yeah.
So I wasn't back to work with the third one yet.
Okay.
And then how soon after you had your babies did you go back to work?
I did the 12 months of mat leave,
You
so
did-
at
yes.
the 12-month mark, I
Yeah,
went
you
back.
were.
Nice. So, what was the conversation with your husband like when you said, "Hey, I want to be a surrogate"?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not surprised one bit.
Right.
And I think one of his first comments was probably like, I think this is great for you. Yeah, not surprised that this is something that I'd want to do. And he was fully supportive, like from day one. He said, you'd be great at that. There was no hesitation. There was no questions. He's been super supportive from the start.
Oh, I love that. That's so special because that is something that we just don't see. Like we do see it often, but not every time, right?
Yeah.
So when it
Right.
does happen, it's very special.
How old are your kids? How did they fit into
Yeah.
the journey for you?
Yeah, my oldest is 7, my middle one is 5, and my youngest is 3. They've known from the beginning, that mommy was going to be having a baby for somebody else, but we're not going to keep it. We get to give it back. We've been open with them basically from the start. We had introduced them to the intended parents right off the bat. Like we had, FaceTime calls with them, so they knew who they were. They knew that the baby belonged to them. And they understood. Their favorite part of the whole thing, I think, other than baby being born, was the first 13 weeks when I had to have a needle every day.
Mm-hmm.
They would fight over who got to put the Band-Aid on after the needle. And it was just like a big family affair. So all 5 of us would gather in the bedroom, and, my husband would give me the needle and one of them would put the Band-Aid on. And it was good. They understood.
Sweet.
That's so cute.
How did they feel after baby was born? Like, were they super excited to hold baby and like right into it?
Yes, very excited. So they came to the hospital. They got to meet baby for the first time in the hospital. And then they got to see, baby as much as possible after that. The intended parents stayed in Saskatchewan here for 2 weeks. So they left a week ago. So my girls got to spend quite a bit of time with the baby and with the family. They'd come here to my place, or we would go see them at the hotel. They were obviously sad that, she had to go home, but they understood. And, we'll have FaceTime calls and stuff with baby too. And
Right.
we're going to stay in touch.
Well, the nice thing is it's not like there's distance, but there's not that much distance.
Yeah.
If you guys want to, plan something or do something, it's easy to do.
Yeah, we actually have a trip planned in November to go see them. So
Oh, that'll be
I
so
love that.
exciting. Have your kids been to Toronto before, or will that be all new for them?
they've never been to Toronto to like tour around. They've only been to the airport. So yeah, it'll be all new for them.
So that'll be fun. What are you guys gonna do?
So when I was there for the transfer, we actually went to the aquarium,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had a blast
Yeah,
at the
It's so
aquarium.
fun there.
I love it.
So I can imagine that they are also going to love the aquarium. So that's like top priority, is to do that. And my husband is a Habs fan, and
nice.
the intended father, he is a Toronto Maple Leafs fan.
Oh, fun.
And so we're going to go see a game in November, probably while we're there. And made the best team win, I guess.
That'll be fun.
That's awesome. I love that.
That aquarium really is the best. Like, we
That's so
went
cool.
to the Vancouver aquarium like 6 weeks a month ago, and I think the Toronto aquarium's way cooler. Like,
Well,
it's different
they're
style.
Different, though. Yeah, they're different, but it's just like super neat. Yeah.
It's way more interactive there, I guess, at the like in Toronto.
Yeah.
And but
Both.
yeah.
Honestly, if I see a fish in a tank, I'm excited. You
Oh
know?
yeah,
Like,
seriously. If a shark's gonna swim over my head, like, I'm here for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Did you have anyone in your life that wasn't supportive of you doing this?
Honestly, no. And if they weren't supportive, they never said it to my face. And honestly, it really wouldn't have made a difference to me. I think the only thing that anybody ever said to me was my husband's mom, my mother-in-law. She just made a comment like, "Don't you think you're busy enough?" And honestly, she's probably right. Like, I am, we do have a very busy life. Our girls are very active, shift work and everything going on. But it wasn't, it wasn't anything over the top,
Right.
you know? And so other than, aren't you busy enough? Like, that was really all we heard. Everybody else was very supportive. And they were all very excited. And a lot of people, don't know much about surrogacy. So a lot of people were excited to ask about it and to learn about it. And I was excited to tell them about it. So honestly, no, like, I didn't really have too much negativity at all.
I think that's something though, like, you know, like the aren't you too busy? You're pregnant. It's not like you're like going to a meeting every day or like you're just
Yeah.
living your life. You're there, sure, you have a few different appointments to go to and stuff, but it's not like it's every day. It's not like it's affecting all of your days throughout. Like, I guess you did have to go on bed rest, so that changes things, but
Yeah, like, I think that was probably the toughest part of the whole pregnancy was, and I would say for my husband too, because he had a lot of extra things that he had to, do with me on bed rest. But we got through it and everything was fine.
yeah.
In the end, was it like, beside the SCH, was it a fairly easy pregnancy for you?
Yeah, so I was very, very lucky. The pregnancy itself was great. The birth didn't quite happen as we had hoped or planned. She came a whole month early, and I've never had a baby be born early before, so we
Right.
weren't expecting it.
Right.
So that kind of put a wrench in, the intended parents' plans. They were only supposed to arrive here in Saskatchewan on the 15th of July.
Oh, wow.
And she's nearly, she's 3 weeks old now. So, other than that, everything else is great.
Did they make it for the birth?
They sure did.
Oh, that's good.
So my water ended up breaking at like 4 o'clock in the morning on, say, the Thursday before she was born. She was born on Friday. And so at, 4:30 in the morning, once I went into the hospital and confirmed that, yes, my water had broken, I called them and they didn't answer.
Yeah.
And so, like 45 minutes later, Dad ended up calling back and he's like, what's going on? Is everything okay? And I said, well, you're going to have to hop on the next plane out here because my water just broke. And it was a bit of a shock, I think.
Yeah.
But they ended up getting here at like 2:30 that afternoon. And they had their families in tow with them. So they had both their mom and dads with them that came too.
Oh, that's so special.
And yeah, they made it in plenty of time because baby wasn't born until the next day. So
Oh, perfect. That's really special that they brought the grandparents.
That is so cool that they were able to do that.
Yeah.
Did they stay
And,
the full
they're-
weeks too?
yeah, so their siblings also came out.
Wow.
So baby was born Friday. Their siblings also came out on the weekend, and siblings and their dads left on, I believe it was Tuesday, but their moms stayed the full 2 weeks with them.
Oh,
That's so
that's
sweet.
so cool.
I think that's one of just, we say it so often, but it's so true. Like, surrogacy and egg donation not only make like parents, but they make grandparents and aunts and like the ripple effect of these babies just blows me away
So cool.
every time, and it's so cool because you got to see that firsthand. Because so many people, it's just the intended parents are able to come. Like, you're not able to have such a big crew who this little one means so much to.
Yeah, that's so neat.
Yeah, and this family, they're all very, very close. So, there was no doubt that they were all going to be here.
Right.
But just to see, them together, it was just so nice that,
Yeah.
there was just so much love all the time for this little baby. And, mom and dad, they had all the support that they needed. It was really a great 2 weeks.
That's beautiful.
Other than having baby early, was it like a fairly straightforward and easy delivery for you?
Yeah, I had to be induced because my water was broken. My water was actually broken for about 32 hours before they induced me. So I've never been induced before, so there was a lot of firsts for me. So I had to be induced. So because of that, I was hooked up to the IV and I had the monitors on me the whole time, which I wasn't a fan of.
Right.
I ended up, my friend actually came from Manitoba to be my support person while my husband stayed with the kids. And she was just busy with the intended parents, basically fixing the monitors the whole time I was in labor because they were moving all over the place and
Right.
the
Yeah.
nurse couldn't get the heartbeat. Like, so, there was a couple struggles there, but once my contractions actually started, which took about 2 hours being hooked up to the um, Pitocin, um, she was born 3 hours later. So it was super quick. It was very intense, the most intense delivery I've had. I think it was because of the induction.
Yeah.
But she thankfully arrived in good time and yeah, all was fine.
Oh, I love that.
And now you got to go home and lay on your couch for a few weeks.
Yeah.
I did, yeah. I got to go home the next day, which was nice. I ended up having some blood loss and stuff when they were trying to deliver the placenta. So I ended up having to stay the night, which is fine. And so I got to go home the next day. And you know what? It was actually really nice recovering without a newborn. I'll
Yeah,
say
yeah.
I would recommend.
Right.
Yeah, there's something to be said about being able to just like actually go home and rest and recover and take care of yourself.
What was the best part about surrogacy?
Oh, that's so hard. Like I said, the whole thing was just so positive from like literally from the first time I had a Zoom call with them, all the way through. I think my favorite part, which is probably a little bit cliche, was once the baby was born, when she came out, just seeing mom and dad, like
Yeah.
just seeing how excited they were, to have their baby. And I just remember laying there and turning to the side and seeing mom and just like her face and seeing dad like support me while she's, like she was hugging me, she was holding the baby. Like it was all just, so much. And I guess that's my favorite part, just because, you know, I got to make them parents, and that was so special.
Oh, it's so cool.
They-
That's my favorite thing that I think it's Christina.
Yeah.
She says that her intended mom literally ripped her own shirt off when the baby was born. I'm like, yeah,
Like, it's
that
so
is
powerful.
so cool to me. Yeah.
Well, and it's just even may say on like the egg donor side, like this gift that you give, you can't give that any other way. There is no way to like replicate that feeling
Yeah.
of
No.
making parents.
Yeah. What was the worst part about surrogacy, Sarah?
Yeah.
Worst part about surrogacy. Oh, I don't know if there is a worst part. Like the toughest part on me and the family was for sure the bed rest.
Right.
But I don't know if there's a worst part about it. I mean, getting a needle every day isn't always
Yeah.
fun, but
It sounds like you guys really tried to make it fun though.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, I once the needles were done, my girls were actually a little bit sad that they, didn't get to be a part of that anymore.
Right.
So, and I think my husband too, I do think that he enjoyed giving me a needle every day.
Right.
Um, but the first time he gave me a needle was actually terrifying because we were on the Zoom call with Melissa and she was, walking us through everything. And I like load up the needle, get it all ready. I'm holding it to warm it up, and I hand it to my husband, and I'm leaning over the couch like Melissa says to get the first needle, and he's standing there like this with the needle in his hand, and I'm like, whoa, like back up a second here. And Melissa's like, whoa, like you don't need to dart her, She's like, just gently put it on her skin and push it in. And so I was like super tense for the first one because I was terrified. He was literally standing there like this. But thankfully after that, yeah, it was fine.
That's good.
how long in the end were you on bed rest?
I was there on bed rest for about 6 weeks.
Oh, okay. I'm sure that was
That's
like
a long time.
by the end of that you were ready to like move and
Yeah.
do things again.
Yeah, I definitely was. 6 weeks was a lot. I watched a lot of TV. Thankfully, the intended parents gave me some good recommendations of shows to watch.
Good.
And it was over Christmas too, so I was able to go back to Manitoba, but I just basically laid on the couch the whole time.
Right.
It was what it was. I got 6 weeks of just resting, I guess.
Yeah. That's not always bad. Yeah. So we this is our favorite question.
Yes.
If you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, who would you pick?
Well, that's an easy one. It would be my dad. So he passed away when I was 12. And so I would love to have a conversation with him just about, my life. And
Right.
there's definitely some things like he was not a big supporter of the police. And so I'm very curious to know what he would have to say about that.
Right.
But yeah, for sure, it would be my dad.
That's a really pivotal time in your life. Like being 12 is you
The-
think
kind
you're
of the
grown,
worst
and
in
then,
some
yeah,
ways. Like,
I'm so sorry, Sarah. That's really, yeah. I can't
That-
imagine how that was for you.
yeah, losing your dad
Yeah.
is such a developmental.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much going on
I
when you're
remember
12.
being 12. Yeah. You think everything. You think you know everything, but you don't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was obviously tough. My brother was 14.
Right.
But my brother, I think, did a really good job of stepping in and kind of filling that role. And he was always, my go-to.
Right.
Me and him were very, very close, and we still are.
Nice.
And so, I give kudos to my brother for kind of stepping in and, guiding me when I needed it.
Right.
What did he think of your surrogacy journey?
He wasn't surprised either. He was very supportive of it. And we're actually going to see him this weekend because he's in Manitoba.
Nice.
So we're going to have, we'll chat more about it then. I only got to see him a couple times throughout the pregnancy.
Right.
So it'll be nice to catch up with him and
Have a
That'll
little
be
visit.
really nice. So, do you
Yeah.
just have one sibling, Sarah?
yes, I only have
Nice.
one sibling.
Nice.
Yeah, and one older brother.
Oh, very cool.
What are you doing with your rest and recovery time postpartum over summer like this?
Yeah, well, I have 3 months over summer now, which is nice. I get
That's
the
perfect.
15 weeks of mat leave. And so I was expecting it to, at least start in, end of July or August,
Right.
but now I had all of July. So we don't really have any big plans just because we didn't know, what our
Right.
summer was going to look like. But we have a couple weekends planned with family. We have a boat. We'll go, we go out fishing quite a bit.
Nice.
I think we're just gonna hang out here and enjoy the yard and enjoy friends in the neighborhood and yeah, just keep it simple.
Do you like where you're living in Saskatchewan right now? Like, has it been a pretty easy transition for your family?
Yeah, we really do like it here. So we're in a smaller community outside of the city. Our neighbors are all incredible. All of our kids have so many friends around. We have a big green space behind our house, and so they just go out and play. It has honestly been really, really great for us.
Well, you
Did
get-
either of your neighbors be like, what the heck is going on when you were did everyone know you were doing a surrogacy? Like, did you have any strange looks that all of a sudden you were pregnant and kids were probably shouting, oh, it's not mom?
Yeah, no, honestly, we told everybody, I think I was around probably, 12 or 14 weeks. So after I came off bed rest, because I was kind of hibernating for the winter
Right.
while I was on bed rest.
Right.
After I came off bed rest, I pretty much started showing right away. So we told, we're very close with our neighborhood. And I pretty much told everybody, right away that it was a surrogacy. Everybody was very excited. And when the intended parents came out, everybody was very excited to meet them. Yeah, so everybody was kind of, in on it and knew about it. And,
That's
they
so
kept
cool.
an eye on me in the end. And, they knew that my water had broken. I was trying to get contractions going. I was walking around the neighborhood. And yeah, it was pretty neat. Everybody knew what was going on.
I love that. That's so cool.
That is so
Will you
cool.
get to stay there, or will you guys be transferred?
Yeah. We're hoping so. I mean, we would love to stay here to get our kids through school if possible.
Right.
I mean, that's still a ways away as my youngest, she's gonna be 4 this year, but
Right.
it's still a ways away. If we can stay here and bounce around this area, we're definitely going to try and do that. Just because it's hard when kids start school and,
Yeah.
moving them schools and stuff.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been there?
Just a year now. We're
Okay.
actually today is exactly 1 year.
Oh, wild.
Congratulations.
So you were not even unpacked laying on your phone searching for surrogacy.
Yeah, pretty much. It was we basically moved here, still had some unpacking to do, and there was just all these things that I was thinking about, and then it just happened. It all just happened, really quickly.
Right place,
Well,
right time.
hopefully this like next year's maybe a little calmer for you.
Yeah.
Like no moving and just enjoying what sounds like a really awesome neighborhood and
Yeah.
like just settling into the groove of new life.
Yeah, you know what? But we do like to stay busy. We do like change. This all of our moves have been so great for us. Yeah, I don't know. We do like,
Yeah.
being busy.
Right.
Well, Sarah, do you have any questions for us? I know we have like really rapid fired
Yeah.
at you and just been like so all over it. We're so grateful you said yes and came on to
Yes.
visit with us today. So if there's anything you want to ask us, just fire away.
Oh, I don't know. I never really thought of anything.
That's okay. We actually don't like answering questions. No.
That's why you do all the
shit.
asking
We
questions.
do. We do.
We love to talk around here. That's how we ended up with microphones.
Well, Sarah, we want to thank you again.
Yes.
And we hope you have a really great rest of your day.
And a really good
Awesome.
summer. Enjoy not being pregnant, end stage pregnant, the end of summer, and
Yeah.
like do something fun.
Yeah. Have a margarita.
Yeah, I will for sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.